It is the middle of June and the eels have started rolling into the River Coquet. That's what we're after today. But first, we're going to some bait, we're going to dig some worms, and I'm going to use some bacon round as well. I don't have any maggots, which is unfortunate. I would have liked to be able to put some bait down to try and get the maggots, to try and get the eels to come in, feed the maggots, and then take a big worm, but I won't be able to do that. But there's quite a few of them in. I've seen 2 in the past 3 days that have been over 3 foot long, which I don't know what that would be in pound, probably about 2.5 pounds, but it's a nice eel for the river, so that's what we're going to try and get today. But I'd say first, I'm going to dig some bait and try and get some nice big juicy worms. So what I'm doing for getting bait, I'm just on the riverside here. It's not really the pool I'm going to fish for the eels today. I don't think I'm going to go Road Bridge pool. But these sods have fallen down, just digging through them because they're wet and the worms are like that. And I've gotten a few already, but I'm going to go through all them ones up to that big tuft at the top. See what I can find. Hopefully we'll get some nice big ones to put on these size 2 mustard hooks I've got. I'm pretty confident. I've seen them feeding the past 3 days I've been out. I've seen them feeding in the broad daylight, so I'm going to go probably mid-afternoon, probably about 2 o'clock, until probably about 8 or 9, dusk. I'll come back at dusk. I'm not doing a night session. If we get something, we get something great. If we don't get something, then that's how it is, isn't it, I suppose. But I'll see you when I start fishing, and hopefully I'll see you when we have a fish. Right then, we're fishing. It's 12 o'clock. It's at noon. I'm going to go noon till 8 probably. After these eels, I've got 2 rods out. One's got bacon rind on it, because I didn't have any lunch with me, and one's got the worms we got this morning. Just one, I took one of the bigger worms hook, threaded it all over the hook, but rather than using a clump, otherwise I'll just run out of worms. I think a clump would be probably better for the eels. But who knows, we might get a bycatch trout just fishing a single worm. I've got my float rod with me, although I don't think I'll bring my float hooks. I'm not sure. I'll look for them in a second. I've got a float rod with us. I'm going to use that to catch some minnows actually, just snagging them with a spinner I think, and then we've got some dead bait, but we'll see. Hopefully I can come back to you with a fish. If not, I'll see you in about an hour's time. Alright then, ladies and gentlemen, it's been about 40 minutes. I've got one rod on a minnow and the other one on a worm. I've had to kill him because he got worse than gut hook. He had the big hook, the eel hook, straight through his gill plate. I couldn't get it out. So I've killed him, put him out of his misery, and I'll eat him for dinner. But he's a very nice trout. Absolutely devoured the worm, nearly took the rod in. But that's one fish down. I haven't blanked. Best fish I've caught in probably about a week actually, so yeah, hopefully we get the eel at some point. Who knows though. Normally a fan of keeping wild brown trout, but when they're deep hooked like that, releasing them is a death sentence to the fish anyways. So I've caught myself some dinner for tonight. Still after that eel, that was a bycatch on the worm, which is going to happen if you use worm, you're going to catch a trout as well. He was hooked right down at the back of the gill, and it was hooked through all of his gill rakers on his right side. So literally, there's no saving the fish from that. You know what I mean? Barbed hook or not, there's no saving the fish from that. Hopefully, the next trout I get, if I get another trout on that rod, will be lipped or high up in the gills, and then you can take it out, and then the fish will be all right. If it keeps on happening, where they're hooked deep in the gills, the only option for me is to go to a size 10 barbless hook, and with it being a smaller hook it'll be easier to get out, but even pliers couldn't get out of that. I could barely reach them. So we're still fishing though, we're still fishing. I really hope we get that eel. Obviously I've kept that trout. There's a chance I might end up using its head for bait for eel, and no trout's going to eat that size of trout head. Obviously got minnow on my left hand rod, not even a touch on it. Just chuck some sweet corn in, just to see if we might get them feeding on the bottom. Maybe it's getting a bit low because there's a few fish rising. I mean, I don't mind catching the odd trout, as I say, as long as I'm not deep hooking them all the time, I'm happy. But at least we didn't blank. It's a blank saving fish. I could not catch another trout all day now, I'd be perfectly happy. I would love to catch that eel though. I know there's one about 3 foot and I know there's one about 2 foot in this pool. They might not come out till late, as it's getting dusky, I think, is when I get a bite if I get an eel. But you've got to keep trying because you just never know, do you? But I'll see you on the next fish if we get one. And if we don't get another fish, I'll see you in an hour's time. Alright then, so I'm going to try and show you the rig I'm using. Just worm, I think it's a size 4 hook. And 2 pieces of sweet corn to keep the worm in place. Sweet corn are not necessary. I mean, the fish have bought now any sweet corn on. But my hope is that it'll be a bit too big for a trout to want to come and pick up. And I'll just manage to keep only eels on this rod. This is the lead I'm using. It's 20 gram ball lead followed by a swivel on my hook length. And I've got a 2.5 inch hook length. The 20 gram ball lead means it's a run through lead, obviously, which means that anything that picks up the bait can run freely with it, because I have my drag very loose, which is very important when you're eel fishing. Hopefully it means we'll get a hook up. All we've got to do now is put it in front of an eel. Who said that eels only bite at night? That is my first UK river eel. I am very happy. That's my first time targeting them. He's nice, he's a 1.5 foot, just over a foot. Obviously not massive, you know. He's quite a slim head. You'll be eating them big nymphs and stuff on the bottom normally. It's a lovely eel. You can get him unhooked, get him released for you, get some pictures too. I'll be back in a bit. I'm just gonna release him in now. Oh, yeah, and away he goes. Oh, the mucus on them is unbelievable for a river fish. Alright then, we've had that eel. I've had the rod out for another 10 minutes. My mate's just come down and I just got absolutely thrown. Same type of bite as it was with the eel. Didn't take much line, but the rod tip was going. Lifted the rod, I've switched to a barbless hook now. Lifted the rod. Nothing there. Half tempted to switch back to the barbless hook next cast. Which probably will, to tell you the truth. But as long as I'm getting bites, I really don't mind. I was on the worm again. I think it's the 4th bite today. But I'm absolutely dead pleased with myself getting that eel. I might move swims shortly. I know there's another swim with a big eel in it. The eel here is only about 2.5 foot, 2 foot. That eel that I caught was about 1.5 foot, so it's a different eel to the one I saw yesterday. I did see 2 in this swim yesterday, so I'm still gonna keep in here and wait for the second eel to come, hopefully. That bite could have been the second eel. I'd say it was the exact same type of bite. You just don't know though, dear. Obviously with the barbless hook I should be able to get my hooks back now, and it's better for the fish, isn't it? I've got 1 trout I've kept half out for my dinner, probably some pigeon or something. No, I'm really happy. It's just started raining. I'm really happy I'm underneath the bridge because it is tipping it down. No thunder or lightning yet. With any luck, the rain will bring some fish. Who knows, we'll see at the next fish hopefully. That wind has really picked up in the last 10-20 minutes. And ironically, that's when I've been getting my bite. I've had 2 bites now. Not a fish in the end, nothing. So I'll switch back to a barbed hook. Obviously I'm targeting eels, and the bigger hook will stop the trout from taking, anyways, the smaller ones. I've also put both rods close together rather than having one either side of me. That means I can concentrate better. But I've got high hopes that a slightly bigger eel might come and take us, because each of these bites I've missed have been the type of bite that the eel I caught gave me. So I'm hoping that they are eel bites, and next time it's just going to get the barbed hook in his lip, hopefully. As I say, the wind really good. Well, I had to cut you guys short there. That was the third bite in the space of 5 minutes. That just doesn't have anything on the end of it. I tightened back up to it. Got a big thump and it went slack. You tighten back up to it. And yeah, nothing. It didn't take any line. Again, it's not one that took any line, but I'm getting bite now as well. Here we go. There we go, it's a big bite. This must be trout just pecking at it. It must be. It's just big thumps. They're just big thumps. It can't be minnows. They wouldn't give such a thump. It'd be salmon par or something along those lines. I'm just gonna tie him back up to it again. What I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna tighten my drag because it's not taking any drag anyways, and it allows me to pull straight into these fish when they're thumping. And I'm just gonna sit on the ground, waiting for that next thump. They're big thumps and definitely are fish. The wind is making the rod tip go, but they definitely are fish, because I've had 3 times where, two times out of the 3 times I've lifted my rod, there's not been any bait left. So it's not like it's just the wind doing it, and my other rod would be doing the same if it was the wind. So as I put the bait hook on, it hasn't stopped them in the slightest. I've had the same amount of bites, and that's 2 bites in 2 minutes, which leads me to believe it's not an eel, unless it's an eel coming along hoovering up every time I put it back in. I don't think that was an eel though. That was too quick, too nippy to be an eel. My bet's on about a 6-inch salmon bar, just pulling at the worm. They're obviously not hooking themselves because it's still not going. And when I'm tightening up, they're not there. Hopefully we can get some video footage of these knocks, because they're happening all the time. I'm going to leave it in for another 10 minutes in case the worm's been stripped, but I'll probably see you at the next bite, hopefully.
Oh, and they come unstuck, lady, running down to the riptide, taken away to the dark side. I wanna be your left-hand man. I love you when you're singing that song, and I got a lump in my throat 'cause you're gonna sing the words wrong. Is this movie that I think you like? This guy decides to quit his job and head to New York City. This cowboy's running from himself.
Alright then, so I'm going to cook up that trout that I caught earlier on. I've already put salt and pepper on. What we're going to do here is make an oil-based mix. So it's got smoked paprika there, ground cumin there, and mashed garlic in the middle. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some olive oil in and mix. Alright, now I moved over here to where my trout is. We've got our paste. You should take a scoop of that, put it in there. Scoop it up, put it in there. Now I can't film it because I'm filming with one hand. What we're going to do is we're going to rub that in all over the place just with your hands. Alright then, what I've done now is I've put that rub in there. You see it's all up in there. And we used some lemon juice and just cover that all up. So what we're going to do is in the first one we're just going to wrap the fish like a burrito, crimp down the ends, and then we're going to use a second piece of tin foil just to really make sure that everything is nice and tight and folded up in there. And you crimp the ends of there with your fingers, like that down. Crimp that end as well. Just fold it up so you got something to handle it with. Now we're going to get a tray and put it into a preheated oven at 200 degrees. I'm going to put it in for 10 minutes and check, basically. I've never cooked trout like this before. I've always cooked it a different way, so you're doing it with us. Okay then, so the trout's in the oven. It's been in the oven about 5-6 minutes. So I've just got this milk to hot enough to put my cheese in. I'm going to make a cheese sauce with some pasta and have that with my trout. So just grated up some cheese. Got half a pint of milk in there. I'm just going to dump all my cheese in there. that'll slowly dissolve. You remember when you're making cheese sauce, do not ever bring it to a boil, otherwise the cheese will end up separating from your sauce and you're left with whey, basically, left with protein shake. We're gonna let that simmer for a bit, at best simmer, and then we're gonna add some flour to thicken it up and put my pasta in. Alright then, we've added a handful of flour and a slice of American cheese just to thicken it up a bit. And we've got our spaghetti on the way. At this point, trout has been in there for probably 10 minutes, I reckon. So I'm just going to take the trout when this is done, so we've got between 5 and 10 more minutes, probably about 7 minutes. If you haven't already figured out, I don't do measurements, I just do however much I think is necessary. But I'm sure it tastes nice. And it couldn't get any fresher. Alright then, that is my catch and cook complete. Paprika cheese sauce with spaghetti, brown trout, brilliant fish. What a meal this is going to be. I'm going to eat well tonight, I'll tell you that much for now. Either way, as much as it's ended up turning into a catch and cook, this has been episode 1 of my 2025 eel campaign. I might be ended up going to some gravel pits nearby, or I might just stay on the river. But my aim's a 3-foot eel. I reckon the one I got today is about 1.5 foot, 1.75. I really hope you can join us next time. If you've made it this far into the video, drop a comment down below letting us know what type of water I should fish for the eels in my next video. But until then, I'm going to enjoy my dinner before it gets cold. And I'll see you in the next video. See you there.